Hey, we're doing something a little very teeny tiny itty bitty bit different this time. Mecha Boy is taking point on running the games, and I am merely a spectator today. I'll be observing and commenting and saying things as well, but Neko offered to run things, and earlier this week I was kind of talking about getting a little exhausted, and I said, yeah, maybe at some point. And then today came around, and I was like, dude, you can take it, you can have it if you want it, and he has. So let's get into it. Let's enjoy.
First, good stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, let me put the dark voice back on. Hello and welcome to Honeycomb. We got a 3K 4v4 on TESTULOUS server. Team 1 ANS, Team 2 OSP. In the blue chunks, we've got Hellcringe, aka Hunter, Lena, Puppy from Hell, and Ketabor. Over on Team 2, we've got Minaris, Firestorm, Quiz, and Mathblob. I'm trying, all right? I'm sorry I don't have my old man armchair.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here smoking my pipe, talking about my books and things.
Got a good casting voice.
Anyways, see deployments start up here. Looks like OSP going for the D side stack with a whole bunch of their stuff. A little bit of assets sent over to contest E and C points, just minimal investment there. ANS looking like they're deploying a little more dispersed, seeing a group kind of going towards E point, a group kind of going towards D point. We'll see how this develops. Kind of feeling like this is favored for the OSP committing to their death ball, winning one push, and then gravitating towards the middle of the map. Lets them contest the C, B, and A points depending on how the cap game develops. So we'll see as things get into the game what everyone has brought and what tools of destruction are going to be on display today. All right, deployment cam is showing me a Vauxhall with 250 on the front. Looks like a VLS2 on the back. We'll get these fleets covered in a second. Jammer sidearm on the CL, no less. All right, from Hellcringe, aka Hunter, we've got 250 Vauxhalls with VLS2 backpacks. Looks like a bunch of hybrids on there. Joining them is a little jammer shuttle to provide lock and that. Bottom defender. Ooh, yeah, defender on the bottom slot. It's interesting, yeah, to provide hemispheric coverage for those jammers. Huh. A funny little tech there. Does mean you give up a gun, but could be worth it. Ketabor has a 450 CH. Gonna see if this thing is track correlators. It is not. Just going for that massive firepower style instead when they can present broadside. And they have sidearms too. Maximum DACA on this thing. Very nice. And that gonna be a little torpedo and gun pair over here of corvettes. Going to see another pair of these on the other side here. Actually, a trio, no less. It's going to be some interesting firepower presented. Lena bringing 1 and 2 Axfords with some Sarissas and Defenders and whatnot. Hang on. Are those Whip Prowler? Hold up a second. Let's take a look at these. What are these? These are Fixborn and Tire and Miser. Let's take a look. What is this thing's internals? Where are those modules? Yeah, Prowler and Whiplash. Huh. Prowler drive, I'm betting, is to try and minimize signature size here so these can hide under their blanket jammers. That'll be interesting to see what breakpoints that can get through. Anyways, let's take a look at the rest of the fleets here before the match really gets going. Yep. Looking like pretty standard fare Axfords over here. Yep, track correlated spyglass going for that 11-kilometer short bombardment playstyle here. Puppy from Hell going over here with, let's see, VLS2 launchers and rebounds on these little cappers. So going to be interesting. Where are all the points in this fleet? Just all into missiles by the looks of it. Okay, got a hybrid Pinard and Aurora frigate. It's an interesting combo here. Just kind of area point defense, I guess. Some missiles as well for good measure. So yeah, big missile fleet from Puppy there. Let's take a look on the other side. Speaking of big missile fleets, Firestorm bringing a pretty full-looking container liner here, along with a pair of Illuminator shuttles. Going to see some SAW action. Look around the battle space right now. B point and A point being capped almost at the same time. Minimal investment shuttle going for C point, and ANS not sending anything over there except for a missile trying to sniff that out. Yeah. OSP Deathball going towards D point. There's going to be a very, very sad Corvette in a second once it runs into all this tonnage. Take a look here. A blank C90 monitor guarding the OSP's natural here, the A point, or no, sorry, the B point rather. Got another one of those with just container stack launchers for extra HP here. That one's covering E side. That blob has a mine launcher shuttle, and then I believe torpedo tug, and then a multi-mission tug going towards that D point. See, first catch here as Kettabor is getting shredded by some 100 mil grape shot over here from a liner. Let's take a look at that. Quiz has triple threat bulk freighter here. Yep, 250s on the top and actually, no, just a double threat, 100 mil and 250 there. See, another 100 mil and 250. And then lastly, there is the plasma for this fleet. Broadside plasma from that sustained burn. First blood goes to the OSP as D point is taken. What are these missile names? Where are we looking here, folks? Seeing regular missile names. What is Puppy brought? Hang on a second. Mayhem 7 Block XG. Well, that's certainly a name. There's shore bombardment starting up on that C90 monitor over on the E point side here. We're seeing that long-range fire raining down on it. None of it really hitting due to the dispersion at range here. A couple of RPF rounds being fired off on the Vauxhall. I don't believe they've identified what this target actually is. Let's take a look over on the D side, just continuing to see a push going off here as the OSP Deathball progresses forwards. Minaris, I believe I'm saying that right, has a line ship here with a bunch of plasma and 100 mil. Nice little hybrid there. And a Ocello kind of leading the formation, providing the electronic port that they want. Bullseye jammer, E70 backpack for that nice little comms jamming, and then a bunch of Auroras to shoot down hybrids. Also, I believe dual floodlights there just for punching through enemy jamming. And then just rounding out their fleet, they've got a Bloodhound tug and then just a naked ship running onto the D point right now. Battlespace has developed as OSP has taken 2 caps, ANS only taking 1, which is their natural. E point is, we're going to see a whole bunch of RPF flying into this tug here as it is trying to fire its C30 and torp volley before it goes down. Switching over to HE now is the name of the game. Mayhem blocks are being deployed, but torps are out in the water. CMD Hodge on those. Damn, that's some fast hybrid response. Let's see these things stage. Whoosh, and we're going to probably see a very dead tug here. Whop, whop. Still not quite dead yet. They might actually drift long enough to get that E-cap. How is this thing still alive? Managed to avoid the reactor getting hit. Smart move putting the reactor in the back, and then the drive up front here is a little tankier, so you're able to wither some of the fire. Magazine up top as well, so this thing can fit the basic CIC somewhere in this stack. Hawk steering managed to survive due to reinforced tag, and they might live long enough to get this E-capper. Instead, Kettabor moving in one of the small torp shuttles. There I go again, calling shuttles Corvettes and Corvette shuttles. Moving it onto the E-cap. E-cap is denied for the OSP, but hey, they invested a minimal amount over here. Big container strike coming out here now, heading towards that pair of Axfords. Seeing a trio of Axfords here, all of them benefiting from that track-correlated spyglass. Yeah, SAW CLN. Yep, we're seeing Hodge primary seeker on a bunch of these with SAW secondary, so these are going to be illuminated by that shuttle. A bunch of these getting shot down here. Sarissa Gaming really coming into play here now, as those are able to just hit these containers before they are doing any evasive maneuvers from lock. Yeah, that is going to be a good hard shutdown. Defenders cleaning up the rest of that volley. Lovely chaff clouds in the air just to put a little bit of glitter out into the atmosphere. The first volley deny there. CLN going to have to pick other targets that are not like that. Sarissa also provides a no-go zone for a bunch of containers, forcing them to spiral path to evade the Sarissa fire. Tug getting cleaned up on the outside here from Math Blob, just all of these shells landing into it. Yeah, ANS does secure their E side and is now starting to rotate around the battle space as both teams are playing that NASCAR game, rotating away from each other. I say Quiz moving down the middle of the map with the triple threat. No, I keep calling them triple threats. It's just a double threat or topside or whatever you want to call it. We have so many terms in this game, it's hard to keep track. And controlling the middle of the map, A point does not have anything defending it. If you take a look across the ANS team, compared to last game where we had 6 beam destroyers, you're now going to see that there is none in this match. So their cap defense game is going to be a little bit weaker. That said, OSP does not know that there is no beam destroyers, so See, Lena PD Ammo from my co-commentator crowd here, the lovely peanut gallery of spectators joining us here. Seeing them burn through a little bit of their ammo, still holding on pretty well. It's maybe a little bit on the light side for 20 mil slugs, but hey, they're making it work with these services. C point, we are seeing Puppy throwing one of the little, what do you even call this thing? Like rooftop rebound VLS2 asset. Corvette here going to get shredded by 100 mil grape in a second as that's all landing into it now, picking away at it. Yeah, they do manage to get the C cap, forcing OSP to come back. So now ANS does lead it with a 3 cap. That's how they're still a little bit behind on points. Not that that matters at this stage of the game. It's a mine trap laid on the D point here by that little shuttle. Math Blob being a devious little creature there with those. Sprint mine shuttles are going to be a notorious thing if they are kept in the state that they are, because you can easily fit 10 sprint mines into a shuttle like this, just drop a little mine trap, and then have it send off cap a point with a little VLS launcher that has a singular arming missile. They're technically still a threat missile, like I said, they're just being shown. So yeah, great asset to have on display. Normally you'd have to invest a whole tug into doing something like that. Anyways, battle space is developing a little bit. There's a couple Corvettes kind of lurking around the A side, one lurking behind the D point, which is just trying to stay low, hoping that it can do a back cap here. OSP trying to sweep a couple of assets around. Let's see, going for a mass tug on D side. Let's see what we got here. So yeah, torpedo tug versus a VLS-2 launcher Corvette with no backup weapon by the looks of it. Nope. So even if it does manage to knock out certain things, it may struggle to break reinforced components. Seeing some cleanup missiles fired off towards one of Puppy's high top assets here. These frigates have Auroras, so they should just be able to battle short and shoot down all of these. Let's see if that is in fact the case. Shore bombardment going down here as the bulkers expose themselves for a little bit, and all the 450 fires out from those Axfords. So yeah, we're seeing triple capital versus triple capital here. More points invested on the side of the NS than the OSP, so they will be able to overpower them in terms of tonnage. Still, though, slow rotation from Minaris coming over here now as they are picking up the flank position. Quiz just kind of controlling middle of the battle space with the 100 mil guns, able to sweep anything that gets close. And so over on that's other side of the map, D point, we're seeing no missiles hit as the Auroras do their job. A couple of missiles kind of going off there in return, but Jammer counters that, so swing and a miss from both sides. It's a big missile strike coming out here now from Puppy. AMMs in return, we're going to see if any of these get through the defenses. It's like one or two might. Okay, so slight damage being applied here. One T-30 gun does get knocked out for all that trouble, but that is more or less due to just like the random nature of wiggling here. So also a bit of T-50, or T-50, 250 coming in here now, hitting those T-30 turrets. They'll just be able to get into cover and restore. Still have 5 left in the tank. Whole bunch of jamming going out in different directions here now, as we're going to see Hellcringe Hunter himself moving behind here. Now finding, oh, there's a C-90 monitor behind this rock. I wasn't sure where this thing came from. Gonna have to start laying into this thing with 250 AP. Should go down pretty quickly since it is, well, not the most highest investment of ships. Still, a tough little brick to occupy him for the moment. And seeing that 100 mil cleaning up various assets around the map here. Kedabort losing a shuttle for it, or Corvette for it, rather. He's going to Dyson Sphere with Quiz Hunter if it stays there. That... Take a look around the map, see what else could be happening here. Yeah, Hunter kind of pulling back over on that side, just trying to move away from that monitor so you can get some good shots into it without having to play Ring Around the Rosie. A little bit awkward when ships get too close trying to hit each other. So torpedoes now being fired out into the middle of the map as a last hurrah from those Corvettes as they go down to all of that grape shot from Quiz in the middle. MM's deployed, not that that does too much against Torps, and there's, I believe just not quite enough fuel left as those things get taken out at the last second. And I believe radar jamming also gonna miss. MMs, and then, yep, just short by like 100 or 200 meters. That's unfortunate. There was no point defense in arc either. ANS starting to lose a bunch of its cap assets here as the Corvettes go. Did defenders kill them all? I don't see any defenders here. Or maybe we're looking at the wrong asset. Anyways, big container strike going down here now as Puppy is... No, not Puppy. God, I wish these people's names lined up. Hunter is trying to shoot down all of these containers. They're now zigzagging their way in. Defenders doing their jobs here as they are shredding through these various containers that are staggered out here. Container liner once again being denied its hits, although, yeah, quite a few close ones here. Let's see, this last container gets shot down. Yep, that will be the end of that volley. Go look at their ammo. Yep. They still have some defender ammo left in them, but it is down to 65% for about each ship, so going to be wearing them down slowly but steadily. Long-range brawl is engaging here as the Axefords have parked themselves on a rock and are now trading fire with an Ocello. Our containers could have gotten hits off. Yep, there's a sort of a weird science technique to getting through certain PD nets once you can identify it and you have the right containers. Rocket's very good for that, just being able to kind of punch a whole bunch of, well, very fast-moving rockets into a ship once the container strike has their point defense turrets occupied. See, Math Blob's little monitor here just getting cored out completely by, I believe those were VLS 2, yeah, size 2 Hecties, I want to say those are. Wouldn't have seen that damage otherwise. Righto, a couple AMMs there just fired off in response automatically, so stage range oopsies. Jamming deployed onto the OSP's main sort of battle group here, which is the Ocello and its friend. Where has that container liner gone off to, actually? Just lurking in the back line, safe from anything. D point, not much is happening here. Puppy deciding to pull back, not wanting to pick that fight with their little missile ship that is now getting kind of screened out by a multi-mission tug, I want to say, has eyes on it, as with Bronco anyways. That multi-mission tug trying to clean up the top side, where we see the little spyglass frigate covered in auroras trying to peck away at it, but unfortunately the tug has a gun and the the frigate doesn't. Words are failing me. All right, 4 cap for the OSP at this stage of the game. ANS trying to move it back a little bit. Puppy has corvettes set up to take various points if there's a presented opportunity, but ANS just kind of grouping all their assets up on the right side here. They do hold the E point, but all of the other points have gone into the hands of the OSP at this stage, and ANS is running out a little bit of ships that they can throw to cap them. Seeing big container strike going down here now. Illumination is active. Illumination might actually be the wrong thing here, as while the floodlights are illuminating everything, the floodlights are illuminating everything, so these will most likely get seduced after any chaff is put into the area. Let's see, a couple of those containers kind of going off every which way here. Some of them do actually lock on, but are getting shredded by defenders, just kind of a big staggered volley. And will any of these hit? They're going in fairly slowly and dispersed, so we're not seeing the big overwhelming firepower that you would want to see to get through a point defense net like this. Sarissa fire coming down from up high, contributing a little bit. I don't believe that any of these are going to get through. Nope. Dreaded. That said, one of the Axefords is starting to take a bit of fire here. Some of its systems going down into the yellow and red. Ooh, seeing the front side of it starting to get popped here. Now Plasma from that broadside landing in it. A whole bunch of grape shot just sandblast it and starts a couple of criticals here and there. Front side of it that got plasma is feeling the pain there. Also, the aft section has been plasmaed, so we might see some damage done to those reactors in a second. Start to watch as they get popped. Yeah, plasma steady from those broadside cannons, meaning it's going to slowly peel away at this thing over time. Now switching over to HEHC as we just see the big damage volley coming in. That is a Axefords about to have a very bad time when those shots land. Yeah, seeing all the broadside guns getting knocked here. They're trying to roll and disperse some of the damage, flip it over so that the plasma has to cook to another side. All right, yep. Exchange on the D point. Good catch by my co-commentators here. Torpedoes out from one side and VLS to launch going here. CMD missiles only. Have a glorified Hurricane if I ever saw one. Torps are, yep, going to slam into one of Puppy's ships here. Yeah, unfortunately, no defender to shoot down those. Oof. Another container volley going out here. Quiz just having the time of their life as, yep, that is a very fucked Axeford. Everything has gone wrong in this situation. It's getting a drive overload right now, and basically everything here is dead. Citadel CIC will keep it alive for a bit, and so will the big reinforced drive, but a little bit of 450 fire will swing by and then spell the end of that, or it will just go super critical. They're going to continue hitting it until it dies, and there's not really much else to say. As for the other Axefords, they're starting to rotate around the map a little bit now, getting some shots into Menaris's Bulker here. Yeah, this thing has taken a pounding from 450 and 250 from down low. A bit of trade of assets there. That said, a bulk freighter is typically worth less than a Axeford over here that is not having a good time, so... All right, big container strike is going after the Axefords here. They are bow on, presenting very good PD arcs. Let's see what they have in return. As they're just shredding away at the swarm here. Sarissa Gaming as well. That said, we mentioned earlier that the point defense ammo was getting a little bit low on these. Seems like they're still doing pretty well selecting their targets. Defenders getting their money's worth for sure. Container strikes so far putting a little pressure on, forcing the ANS to occasionally divert their attention towards it, but not getting the big knockout hits that they really want. Cello now diving out here into the open, going to be exposing itself a little bit to incoming fire. CL's moving their way towards the B point. See, so down low, C90 monitor that's trying to cover the B point, I believe, just got smacked by a missile, or at least a well-placed shot there. Yep, here comes some missile action into it. That is going to be bop in the front. HEI knocking out those container stacks and still damaging the C90s. That said, though, it is not a full knockout, so they'll be able to hide and recover. Bulk freighter for Minaris goes down here, and oop, there's a reactor bloom from that Axford that we saw earlier getting completely gutted. Quiz now choosing their next target as they're unleashing a little bit of plasma into Lena's broadside here. We see it start to cook off as the calm before the storm, as a few plasma shots don't seem that intimidating. Then the follow-up T30 100 mil volley just kills you. C point briefly contested by Puppy as he's sending a Corvette over top towards the D side there. That's a D point still defended by some tugs, sprint mines, and a couple shuttles just kind of keeping situational awareness up. Frontline has developed a little bit as ANS has got this split push going on. CL's down low and Axford's up high. Reactor bloom going off in the distance there. One of Puppy's shuttles, or Corvettes rather, towards the D side. Game is not over quite yet, but OSP is pulling pretty far ahead. They've got about a 300 point lead, any cap advantage right now, 3 versus 2 cap. Prowler is out on Hunter. Ooh, that is not good. Yeah, the downside of having the big drive here is it's a very big hitbox, and the Prowler is not the toughest thing in the world. So, watching now as they try and exchange fire. Bit of bow tanking war going on here now. The Ocello very tough on the front, so is the L. Still getting hit in the broadside by a bunch of the bigger guns from above. We saw there for a second before they rotate their attention over to warding off those bulk freighters that are out for blood. Bulk freighters now deciding that 8-point capper does not get to live as it is being shredded by grape shot and 100 mil HE. Yeah, this thing is going to go down shortly. Has no damage control team, so all it needs is to just burn down, and that will be that. They'll be able to invest a capper and get back 8-point. All right, more containers going out here now against the Vauxhall pair down here. They're trying to shred into the nose of the Ocello, and the Ocello is trying to do the same to them. Containers might decide the fight if they are good. The defender's starting to fire off here now. One CL a little further forward, shredding through most of that volley. Other one's still within range. That said, it is masking a bit to these containers, so that might not be the best. They have 1 CL's worth of PD is still good. 3 defenders nose onto these things. Yeah, they should have no problem. There's no decoys to stop anything here, so that will be another deflected container strike. Quiz sending down the wounded bulk freighter to cap the 8-point, cementing a 4-1 lead for the OSP, who are still flying ahead on caps. What can ANS do at this point? They are exchanging gunfire here, but not making any decisive plays, really. Just kind of trading a little bit on the front lines and not finding themselves anything that can really put them firmly back into this game, as they've just fallen behind on the caps game. And, well, that's going to cost them as the timer is quickly ticking down here. Lena firing some 450 into Quiz's bulker here. This was the plasma one who ate a few shots earlier but was able to repair. Now some more 450 coming down into this thing's broadside. Has got a lock on it, and that is going to be a big moment of pain once these 450 shots really start landing. There we go. D frigate about to eat mines. Yep, we see Puppy from Hell trying to move down here. Now, that said, this thing does have auroras, so if there was ever a counter to a minefield with an open radar section, it might be able to do that. We'll see if they're able to move down and get that cap. That said, though, Mathblob still has a tug nearby, which I believe still has a torpedo or 2. No, has used up all of its torps, actually, so it is going to just have its gun. So it will be enough, provided that the ship does not eat a whole bunch of missiles. Granted that there's no missiles left in this frigate here, so let's see what they get. A-cap, like we said, now secured by Quiz, so that is a 4-1 lead for the OSP. OSP just kind of rolling the ANS at this stage. All they have to do is buy time, and they will win this. ANS really needs to blitz for a point, and they're kind of stuck in the battle space here, warded off by some of the firepower that they're chipping away at. Ooh, here's why this ship is not capping. Unfortunately, Puppy does not have any restorers in this Prowler Sprinter, so it is unfortunately like about, what'd you call that, a kilometer away from getting onto that cap point, and they've just never been able to do that. Couple of missiles being fired out here towards one of Quiz's bulkers, but AMMs are going to probably spell the end of those. Grape shot being fired in return towards that Corvette that's diving towards the D point now. They're trying to go for a D back cap, but they really need to swing a big cap advantage. I believe they'll need at least a 4 cap to not get completely timed out. So yeah, the Sprinter, no drive. So yeah, that C-cap Sprinter, just no drive, unfortunately, no restores. There's a bunch of AMMs being fired off here automatically towards the sprint mines that has been detected over on D side. And a whole bunch of containers going towards D point here. Auroras are good, but they are not infinite damage. They will cook themselves down as these containers are just going to swing this direction. It has illumination from a well-placed shuttle there. And we are probably going to see the first actual container strike land. There we go. Drive and reactors taken out before this thing can get onto the point. Couple of missiles coming off of the Sprinter that Puppy had here, but that said, I believe that this thing, yes, is still on track, so some size 2s for the trouble into that tug there. It does take 1 hit, the other one being deflected by a Pavise. Down low, Hunter's struggling to really get onto the point here as multiple assets are pecking away at the sides of CLs here. One of them still does have its large Prowler drive out, not electing to repair that. Now, the question is, with a Prowler drive knocked out, do the debuffs still apply? I don't actually know that. Ocello thoroughly pockmarketed across the front from all of the impacts it's taking, kind of making it resemble a kitchen sponge here. I'm seeing Hunter getting onto the B point, but there is still a tug here. So, C30, and does it have a mag still? No, does not have mag, and I do not believe it will count as armed for the purposes of contesting. Hunter's now starting to split off a little bit. Do that go. Yeah, trying to bracket this Ocello. The play when you have more ships is to counter bow tanking by moving from 2 sides, kind of split off directions. It does make your point defense a little weaker since you're in 2 directions, but hey, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Puppy narrowly dodging a big missile volley there. What are these? Wake primary with axe secondaries, size 2 veto missiles, just cruising off, running out of fuel there. Wake primary, kind of good for chasing there. Interesting little combo they got, but oh well. Quiz just kind of hanging out in the middle of the map here, zoning out the area. See Lena finally making it up top towards the C point. Might be able to get the cap, but that said, ANS is just so far behind at this point by about 400 points. Will it matter? B point getting contested here for a little bit as now the Ocello trying to drift onto the point. Yeah, ANS realizing the state of the game, calling GG as it were. I believe that is going to be the ball game here in a second once they finally throw in the towel. I'm just giving a couple of their opinions into the chat here. Container strike now going out more towards Hunter. Let's see if any of these will get through or not. Defender going down here now. A couple of decoys actually being fired from those containers, although not enough to completely seduce the defenders for a long enough time to get through. Yeah, containers just being deflected here as they all kind of trickle in piece by piece. Hunter apparently shooting himself here. And containers just going away. And that should be the game. There's still some sprint mines over on D side. A lovely little nest there waiting for this poor innocent little sprinter to run into them. C point will get capped by the ANS, but at this stage, don't think it really matters. I'm pretty sure OSP can just win this on 1 cap. And there's not really enough ANS asset left in the space to spread out and get a 5 cap. Well, and not viable without certain techs, multi-angle time on target. Yep, there's certain techs you kind of need to do to make containers work against competent players who know how to correctly PD, EWAR, and just otherwise counter cruise strikes. It's a B point. Remaining contested here as these Vauxhalls are now eating shots into the broadside, and the Ocello is just kind of chilling here, hanging out, relaxing, all cool. Yeah, Math Blob has the little minimum investment C90 brick that's firing some shots into Hunter's broadside there. Not really much else to say as we're just going to wait at the clock on this one. Another container strike goes out for good measure. Still enough ammo left here to deflect maybe one more volley. That said, these are getting pretty low. And watch now as, yep, just piece by piece, these are getting knocked out. So one of the CLs here, almost out of 20 mil ammo, is trying to deflect the last of these. How many more containers does this CLN have? It looks like it's down to pretty much the last dregs on all these banks. So given the state of the game, it's not surprising. We are about to watch the OSP finish the cap victory here. Puppy decides to finally throw in the towel here. We're just going to see if the rest of the team follows. Lena trying to drive down towards A point. C point, we see a shuttle go off. So kind of lucky timing there, because if those Axers had been any closer, they would have lost all of their armor, and then that would be easy kills for these 100 mil bulkers that are still lurking around the battle space. Let's let the players run out the clock here. See if they throw in the towel or not. That is their call. Yeah. This will be an OSP victory. ANS bringing some interesting tools and stuff, but not ever finding a decisive engagement. Lack of Beam Destroyer does affect their zone control ability. And yeah, OSP just showing up with the kind of more stuff approach, being able to constantly threaten different points and then push their death ball forwards, overwhelming one side of the map, and then decisively moving through and picking a gunfight that was favored for them. See if there's any last second violence here. Quiz trying to clean up the E point here with a 100 mil broadside, since he's not got the roll set. As a very dead Corvette Kedabor completely out of the game. It's just Lena who is going to get capped here in about 2 seconds, and then we will go on to the next one. Yeah. So in the GGs. Post game, Hunter pulling respectable damage on the CLs. Take a look around. Lena also pulling decent numbers, 450 over the course of the game. Where was the other CH? Yeah, the one CH that got completely shredded in the broadside by Plasma just goes down off at 17-minute mark, 7.3k damage. Puppy with the interesting orbital assets. Where's Puppy?
Yeah, me.
Yeah, interesting little tech there with the like dispersed kind of missiles and the Aurora frigates and stuff.
It worked fine for a first time playing it, but it still lost the game.
Yeah, Hunter CLs dealt half damage against containers. In fact, they dealt more than half damage just against containers. No, it's just half.
Yeah, I killed a bunch of shit with missiles, so that's fine.
I didn't bring enough decoys.
Hapwar, I'm telling you, it's fucked.
I don't know. I felt like I was doing pretty good, Math Blob.
I did not need 450 support on the Acello.
It was so useless that OSP basically only had 3 players.
I literally did not need to help with killing the L. It needed to shoot the LNs. That was the problem that game, not the CSE.
I'm gonna say that was not the problem that game, but there was like some target prioritization.
There
a
were
little better.
There were a lot of problems that game.
Oh,
yeah.
You sent like what, 3 fleets around one side?
Yeah,
Not
so what happened
really,
that game, OSP stacked
kinda.
up G side with like all of their frontline tonnage, pushed that, and then proceeded to just occupy the middle of the map and then put pressure on, putting basically ANS on a one cap situation on the E side, and then ANS just did not have anywhere to go.
Okay, so like it's fine if they pressure us onto one side. What's not fine is 0 backcapping and no, like there wasn't enough killing power on any of the main fleets to do anything about them pushing into mid fast enough.
But
yeah, there was no real screen in that case. Like you had quite a few assets that want to kind of keep their range. Like CLs want to set at that 8-kilometer mark, use that bullseye, just kind of shred things, thin target profile. You got some shore bombardment tech with the triple CHs there. But there just wasn't anything to really stop OSP just kind of bulldozing their way onto a point. There was no beam destroyers or really aggressive not tugs.
You don't
sprinters and stuff.
You don't need to do that if you can backcap. But like we didn't have any of that. There was no backcapping happening the entire game. So it just
100 mil just
matter.
deleted ships going anywhere near that.
Yeah, that is the
But
case
how?
here. Where if you
How is that possible if their ships are like on D side? Okay, all the ships that pushed out of D side were in the mid, from what I'm just hearing, and from what I could observe throughout the game. So how is it possible that we couldn't cap D?
because D side there was multi-mission tugs and a whole bunch of
Map
sprint
log.
lines to deny literally any backcapper
There
there, along with missile
was
support.
did really good
there
job.
was a mine tug,
So what-
a
so-
MMT, and a torp tug over
So
there.
look at this lineup real quick. You're telling me that 3 fleets on OSP beat this 4 fleets of lineup on OSP.
Yeah.
on ANS.
Well, I lost 2 of my sprinters pretty early. And that's kind of what happens. If I didn't do that, then we would have had more backcap pressure. But
Okay.
Rymark should have been the one throwing the PD-less bets on the points.
Sure.
Poppy should have been clear.
I wasn't throwing my shit onto points like that.
It's also
Well,
the fact that OSP had a lot of cleanup assets. Container Strike we saw on the D side just completely wrecked the frigate that was trying to get onto the point that only had
Yeah, I
Auroras.
mean, that was at the very end of the game.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
Sorry
nothing.
about that.
I mean,
There's still the
mines
opportunity
would
with
have
a bunch of
gotten
missile cleanup.
it, The
Yeah.
C-30 would have gotten it.
Puppy, what's up with these?
I'm
things?
just saying, man, that like if this like bro, there wasn't even that many fucking monitors this game.
Yeah.
For my two
Just don't
bricks,
really.
right?
I just don't really understand how any of that fucking happened. But whatever.
Like, basically, from my perspective, what happened is that we had all of our stuff scattered the moment a death ball came through that could immediately shred light ships. Then we cautiously drizzled them in one at a time to roughly trios of light ships that killed them.
Look how
Yep.
many dead tugs there are. That's not really what happened.
I will say that some of the ships did get cleaned up over the course of the game, but very much it was the case of OSP had a plan, committed to their push, and then just kind of bulldozed their way through the map, picking off things as they went. ANS's fleets, while they did start like doing some gunfight, most of the time OSP could pick apart the ANS cap fleet at their leisure, and they just kind of went through that going forwards. So
Well, that's the
Yeah,
strength
yeah.
of the 100 mil, right? It's multi-purpose.
yes,
I don't think that the ANS loss was because of like any kind of specific technical imbalance.
it was a compounding issue of a couple small things that really added up over time there.
Well, like, technical imbalance is meaningless. It's like, it means nothing.
What?
No.
Aren't we balanced?
Aren't we testing to see if there are mechanical imbalances in the recent changes?
Yeah.
Like, but it doesn't. If you're saying we didn't lose because, or we didn't lose because of the balance of the game, then, well, like, obviously the balance of the game has an impact on why a team loses, but, like, it's nothing as simple as OSP broken.
Okay, so if OSP can bring 3 fleets like that, where one fleet is basically doing nothing most of the game, and we are throwing cap assets at their cap assets at a 2-to-1 ratio, basically, in terms of players, and still losing, that strikes me as a bit of a problem.
I
would
think
say
we were,
that, like,
though.
in terms of stuff I saw in here, I saw 2 frontline fleets. You had your Axfords and Hunter CLs there. That was doing his thing. You had a Axford that was like half of the points for a fleet, and then the other was just a bunch of corvettes. And then there was the 4th fleet, which was mostly just missile support. So I'd say realistically, ANS had like half a cap fleet there.
Oh, okay, so we just didn't. I thought Puppy was playing a cap fleet.
No.
It is a cap fleet. It's not an aggro throw shit on caps and die cap fleet. It's a kill the shuttle there and then go on. to
How
the
many
point.
how many ships do you have, Puppy?
There's
out of
3 sprinters and 2 spyglass frigs for SA.
frigates?
Well, but
okay,
You
so
had
just-
Primark for the cups.
Just my remarks about that versus what OSP cap fleets look like. You can get 6 MMTs and a mass driver, like, no problem, and that is way more effective than most ANS cap fleets. You can also get 5 MMTs or 4 MMTs with 6 shuttles. Like, you can do so much more with the options that OSP has available to them, and they're often a lot more effective in the long term throughout a game.
OSP get more
You-
stuff.
You
It's true.
can,
Aware.
but I killed a lot of shuttles and tugs.
Right, but you didn't, like, you were playing against one person, basically. and that one person was also able to kill all of Rymark's shit too. Like the
To be fair, they
capability.
did no TD, so
honestly,
okay.
yeah.
For free to weave S2s.
That
and
is
balance.
fair. That is fair, but I'm just saying that's still ammo that you're otherwise supposed to be using on someone else. You have the assets and mag depth available to you in that fleet in order to deal with that, right? Like that's what I'm getting at. It's the things that you have available to you as OSP. Like I don't necessarily think that this is like a really serious, like I don't know. There's a lot of things going on here, but like I'm just saying that OSP's ability to deal with the things that we had there from a single fleet, it's just a lot more capable than ANS. And like if, for instance, Corvettes were 25 points cheaper, which I don't necessarily know is what needs to happen, but if they were, we would have had more assets to deal with. We would have had more things that you would have had to deal with, for instance.
I think that the point you're trying to get at is that OSP fleets can be a bit more cost effective with like
A
their
lot
points
more
investment
cost
versus their like stuff they can bring. Yes?
Well, yes, that is part of the point. Yeah, I mean, it's also like I guess it depends how you define cost effective, right? Like if you're saying cost effective in the sense that
in terms of like the points they invest versus the value that they generate. Yes.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
All right. I'm thinking I'm just going to cut you off, leaving it there. We do want to get another game set up, so we'll table that discussion for now. Can I get 2 more players willing to go on OSP? Also, we might want to shift up ANS here a little bit.
All right, there's that game. Neko Boy taking point and doing a good job. Doing a good job of leading things. Thanks, Neko, for taking charge and managing this bout of Testulous. Making my life a little easier, letting me kind of sit back and just enjoy it all without dealing with the management. He's also been casting a lot on Twitch and has gotten better and better and better and better. And that's it. That's all. Got a Discord, which is where we're doing all this. Link for that's in the description. And camera guy signing off. I'll see you in the battle space.